Peace. Happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now, I want to speak on the four agreements. Speaking on the four agreements from the book by Miguel Ruiz. And, even when you think about it, when you say, the four agreements, and right now, we're realizing we're God's on a human experience. And you may be feeling the vibe of like, not wanting to read so much, or, tapping into the higher energies. But again, everything in this realm, although temporary, we could gain, knowledge through interfacing with certain things, in order to learn how to leave this realm. And when I think about the four agreements, it seems like one of those all just self-help type of vibes. Like when you think about it, you would think that it's not teaching you how to be, the God that you are and realize that you're on a human experience, but it actually does help because it helps for you to do things that doesn't tie your energy heavy to this realm. Just to go through them, the first agreement, make your word impeccable, and the whole aspect of realizing how strong your word is, the word magic, and not only your words, but others' words as well, and I spoke on that on the subconscious level, or like when you're setting healthy boundaries and somebody says something, if you don't speak up on where you stand with that statement that they spoke on, you will go under that same spell. So if a person like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna become an entrepreneur, that shit hard, I don't think I could ever do it. Like if you sit there and like accept, like, or they make a generalization, like I think all people who are entrepreneurs will always have to struggle, this and that. It's like, well, nah, speak for yourself. Because the moment that person says that, and you don't say nothing back and just you falling into agreement with what that person said, regardless, if you realize it or not. And that's what accountability for our word magic and and our words in general. Again, being impeccable with the word. And he broke down that word too, like impeccable, meaning like without sin, word without sin. But again, be impeccable with your word, like realize, to be more, aware with using your words, point blank period, and aware of the words that's being used around you, you know what I'm saying, and not allowing for these spells to be casted on you, due to your awareness. Second, don't take anything personal. Compliments are insults, either one, what I'm saying, you know who you are, so you don't have to really, like, that doesn't mean if somebody gives you a compliment, you just like, oh shit, I don't want to hear it in that sense of it. It's more like, like somebody like, oh man, some nice shoes. Oh yeah, cool, And at the same time, realize though, hey, don't take it personal. Like, as far as like, again, you know who you are, you know what I'm saying, or you know your shoes, like you're not dependent on them to even let you know that's the whole reason why you're wearing the shoes or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, because you know what it is, So and on the insult side, again, like, oh, you fat or this and that, it's like, well, hey, they and realizing too when somebody, giving an insult, they speaking from, that's them having a little vibe within themselves, and I'm gonna get a little bit into that too. The third agreement, don't make any assumptions. I remember a teacher, making a little analogy, like, don't make assumptions, because you'll make the first three letters out of yourself. As far as the first three letters in the word assumption is ass, and you'll make an ass out of yourself if you make assumptions. You know what I'm saying? And always do your best. It's the last agreement, the fourth agreement. But just getting into that a little bit, different aspects, kind of bounce around. For sure, also this speaks on eliminating the judge from within ourselves, because again, in order to be, lighthearted. And again, this all goes back to still working with our soul, because as much as things is about astral travel and things of this nature, you also have like other habits to practice to also make sure, you know what I'm saying, that you're not having any heavy energies within your being, But right and wrong, punishment and reward, this is the subconscious programming that shapes our reality in this dream realm until we gain the awareness to change it, you know. And the right and wrong, punishment and reward, growing up subconsciously, our parents were saying, hey, this is desired behavior, this is undesired behavior, that's right, and this wrong. And I always speak on that's how the shadow self is created as well, because all the things that you put into the column as wrong, or or that you got punished for, or whatever, you're gonna see it as something evil, or something that you shouldn't touch or deal with. And that may not be necessarily the truth in a lot of cases, again, because it's just some system that our parents taught us. Because again, if my parents tell me voodoo wrong, so you put that to the side, or you feel like, oh man, if I ever touch voodoo, something bad gonna happen to me, or and that's not necessarily an example of creating a shadow self. I'm trying to think. But in certain situations, it'll come in mind as I'm going with the flow of this. I'm gonna keep it moving. But again, like these situations you label as wrong, you would push it aside and like run away from that aspect of yourself, or run away from a certain experience, and it only gets darker and worse, the more you try to run away from it, hence the reason for shadow work. So do things because you choose to, and not out of whether they're right or wrong. Not because of what some rule system in your thoughts say, but more so what feels good in your heart. And remember, you know if you're doing what you love in alignment with your soul, because you'll love the actions of it in the moment, and you will also love the results later, because you could love eating candy in the moment, that tastes good to the taste buds, but then will you love the crash that comes with eating too much sugar, or just eating sugar in general, or will you like your stomach feeling a certain kind of way because of the candy, or whatever the case may be. So it's like doing what you love, but also in consideration of will you love the results later as well, and the truth is within us and all around us. We don't have to search externally to find ourselves. That's another aspect to keep in mind, like the energies is within us. We don't have to necessarily search. And that was the whole joke of most Zen stories, where these people like, oh, I'm gonna find myself, I'm gonna find Zen and this and that, and they go to these Zen monks, and these Zen teachers put them through all kind of shit just to show them, like, bro, this shit inside of you, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the truth is within us and all around us. We don't have to, again, externally search to find ourselves. And that doesn't mean, oh, so you mean I can't read a book or watch a video? Well, yes, that can be a tool as well. And again, just as long as it's in alignment, like where you're being guided to this video or guided to this book due to your inner guidance, your intuition, like, and higher self, and not your egoic mind or lower nature or what you was taught that you think you should be doing. It's more so of, going with the flow of your inner guidance, Another aspect in this, your child is not your possession. And also remembering that, as beings, we are a whole universe, you know what I'm saying, with planets, stars, star systems, galaxies inside of us. So in essence, like, have that type of, awareness when we're dealing with each other on different levels. But again, like if you're a parent and you bring in another little universe into this realm, you want to make sure that you're aware that that is a walking, talking universe, So you can't, you don't want to try to implement any your parasitic energies that that you transmute out, whatever you don't want to implement those energies into your seed. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's the seed. That's a new universe in that sense. So think of it as raising a universe in a temporary bodysuit, like because that's literally what you're doing. Like it's a soul, it's the universe, in a temporary bodysuit, and that bodysuit is a physical representation of the universe as well, although temporary. You know, it's a temporary representation of the universe and not the infinite representation. But even still, again, it's like walking universes. So we should hold ourselves in that accountability. Also, and kind of going back to the right or wrong and inner judgment, I spoke on this before, like like with eating and stuff like that, like it's all about the mind. Like it goes back to the subconscious programming, because if I'm subconsciously programmed to think that only vegan food is the way to be healthy, then if I eat like a muffin or anything outside of vegan food, you'll probably get extremely sick, because you're subconsciously programming yourself to be rigid about what you eat. You know what I'm saying? It's like, try not to, label these things. Like how I tell myself, I'm like, I choose to eat healthy. I don't see any food or anything as right or wrong. I choose to eat foods like this, or I choose to eat foods like that. Whatever. And eating a certain food has a certain result, aka, and putting a certain fuel in your vehicle have a certain result. When you put unleaded, or when you put super unleaded, or when you put supreme, or when you put diesel, it's all fuel, and they all give off a different result. And it's what's best for your vehicle, because some vehicles run on diesel. Some vehicles run on unleaded better. Some vehicles run on supreme better. You know, it's getting in touch with your vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Again, no right or wrong, but what you choose. And again, you dealing with the results. Again, doing what you love, meaning loving the action of it in the moment and loving the results later on. So just keep that in mind. But our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. In most cases, it is why we don't accept ourselves the way we are, and why we don't accept others the way they are. And another thing too that's been coming up, no inner judgment, and stepping away from the hate, you know what I'm saying, and realizing hate is in essence a form of admiration in some way, form of fashion. Hence why I tell people it's weird in Louisiana, because these people say hate you in this sense, but it's like it's a weird admiration within that quote unquote hate, you know like. And you especially see it like in Louisiana, where I'm from. We produce the most football players per capita, which is almost like from the skillet to the frying pan, almost like the same thing as the slave Mandingo fighting situation. But matter of fact, mix it with the gladiators and slavery, and you got football. You know what I'm saying? Because even the combine is like how they used to look at the slaves, and again, as I'm saying this, just speaking on the truth of the situation, as far as like the representation of it. But we in this dream realm. It ain't for us to what I'm saying, like play the game however you feel you should play the game. You know what I'm saying? Being in the football, playing football might be a part of your sole purpose. I don't, what I'm saying, again. Now, of course, I know we move into a place where we are connecting with the God within more. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us may find it more important to find out who we are as a soul more than playing sports. But still, it's a free will universe, to each his own. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you there's no wrong and right, and then backdoor and then tell you, hey, it's wrong to play football. Karmic energy, you take actions, and your actions have a certain results. If you know that you got to deal with the results, and you can handle the results that you there is to deal with, then you good. It's all on your inner universe. But our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. With the spiritual walk, spirituality has been painted with this: you gotta have an ASMR voice, and you have to talk like this, and you always have to talk about angels and fairies, and you can't talk about anything outside, and you gotta have like soft voice and talk like, you're Caucasian or European somewhat. You can't talk like you're the the melanated being or a black person from the hood, because that's not spiritual, you know. Even though, it's like, well, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, this image of perfection, or this image of, not just image of perfection, but this image of what spirituality should be, you know what I'm saying? And we get caught up in these modalities, not realizing that that's not being authentic and true to our soul, you know what I'm saying? And we, again, judge ourselves, I feel like, oh, I'm not to the place that I seen Universal on, or I seen Infinite Waters on, or I'm not, to this place that this book said about, and not that the book told you that this is how spirituality looked per se, but again, you taking it in as if like, oh, all right, this is how spirituality is, so I'm sorry too. I mean, apologies for stepping out a little bit. I'm seeing these two blackbirds, man. Things are awakening. Things are rising. Two blackbirds are thinking about Odin, but Odin is also Wednesday. Wednesday is also Mercury. Mercury also connected as the messenger of the gods. The messenger of the gods is also Papa Legba. Papa Legba, the solar phallic light. Hence Odin later being called the All-Father, in Norse mythology, all connected anyway. And it's not for us to, oh, it's not Odin or this, that, Norse mythology, whatever. You're just knowing about the energy. It's important to just know how to interface with the energy and realizing these energies exist within you. But again, removing this image of perfection and from a spiritual place, and again, due to what you learned from mom and dad, or in your in your early development, whether it's with your biological parents or whatever, but whatever, from when you were when you came down into your bodysuit into this realm, what I'm saying, as a quote unquote in your baby vehicle, what I'm saying. And from there, in the first 7 years, of your existence, you'll be implanted. And again, every 7 years, all the cells in our body change, So that's kind of cool that, and just the number 7 in general, correlate with a bunch of different things, but let's see. And also, again, it's back to the, the hating aspect, because again, some energies, misery is love company, what I'm saying, these parasitic energies, trying to get you to be on the same vibe, like they want. That's why all movies, the person who damned to hell or something, they're always trying to take somebody with them, what I'm saying, like, I'm trying to keep you damned up and not flowing like I'm damned up and not flowing, what I'm saying. And now it's time, what I'm saying, to make sure, you're just not allowing for your vibration to, like you're not falling into, oh, let me hate this person back, or this and that, what I'm saying. Like, you want your heart to lay way lighter than a feather, be lighthearted, what I'm saying. Laugh this shit off, like, what I'm saying. Like, don't let nobody get your goat, what I'm saying. Like, you gotta stay in a high vibe, because literally, like, how I made that video, like, you don't want to get caught in Chuck E. Cheese with the lights off, aka being stuck in this in a temporary realm. Then, don't let nobody bring your heart energy down, what I'm saying? Because again, that's the whole aspect, like a troll, But and again, our idea of perfect comes from our mom, our dad, our society, or other aspects of our first environments in this plane of existence. And we judge, and another thing too, we judge others according to our image of perfection. And naturally, so we judge others according to our image of perfection, and naturally they fall short of our expectations. So if you got this, this image of perfection, for one, you're inner judging yourself on this, and then so you're inner judging, so you're judging other people. And here it is again. Naturally, they will fall short because these expectations are unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? Like you're holding yourself to a degree that's unrealistic. So of course you're gonna constantly, and that's where it gets to where you fall into a place of constantly judging yourself and constantly judging others. And again, hence back to this point where like this book, Four Agreements. It sounds like some regular self-help shit, but nah, it's like some stuff to really help for you to clear energies and allow for your soul to rise up and be present, more within your bodysuit. But again, judging others according to this image of perfection, you know, and again, like well, we'll get further into it. Now, going into the aspect of being impeccable with your words, and I realized this between me and my brethren. We do this a lot of times, and I realized like underneath it all, subtly, it's still kind of having some right or wrong type of vibe to it. But basically, and this goes back to again like the word magic and stuff like that. But it's like for example, brethren be like, like, shit, what you ate today? You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit, I had a fruit, I had this and that. But, say, for instance, like if I say something that is quote-unquote deemed, good food, or like something that's like, like, say, for instance, I ate, be like, hey, what you ate today? Oh, man, I had some tacos, this and that. Even with saying, oh, man, I had some tacos or this and that, it's like, it's neither good or bad, right or wrong. You had some tacos, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not the quote-unquote healthiest fuel, it's still neither good or bad, right or wrong. It's a part of your experience. That's what you ate. That was a part of your now, and now, it serves your now to not look at that aspect as negative or go back and have any regrets, But, just realizing the subtleties of how we create these, rewards. Like, again, like I'll be like, oh, man, I ate just one fruit today, man. I'm down there becoming a breatharian. I'm on a roll. And then, you high-fiving, and again, of course, we want to, support aspects of things that, support our soul growth. But just being aware, because again, like, when a person rewards that behavior with a high five or, man, a dab or a pound, this and that, all of a sudden, if you're not aware, you are creating another right or wrong situation, where one behavior is rewarded when the other is punished, so you're going to feel like, oh, if I ate, if I ate a little Debbie cake, and went off of my, eating things on the alkaline, because again, that's just all it is. You're either eating acidic foods or alkalinic foods, neither right or wrong, good or bad, because in some moments, I'm drinking coffee. Coffee is acidic. Not right or wrong, good or bad, because also it is about a balance of the pH level as well. Not going on one side of the spectrum, but balancing yourselves out. The whole alkalinity thing came in, of course, on some reverse vibes to get everybody to just shoot all into alkalinity, because the whole aspect is to throw people balance off, like, the oppressing energies that be or whatever is trying to get you to be extreme on one side or the other, you know what I'm saying? So you don't realize to balance the kingdom within yourself. You got like a fight going on, like, oh, this side should be over this side, or that side should be over that side, It creates that within the, within your realm. But again, like the example of, like, oh, what you ate today? Oh, I ate this. Or I ate that. And like, oh, way to go. Oh, it's like, shit, way to go, whatever. Like, regardless of what you did and you ate, you're in alignment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a part of your soul purpose. And if you did it, there's no coincidences. You did it, so it has something, you can't go back in that sense of it, you know what I'm saying? So, again, yes, the present moment is a time machine in that sense of it, but again, it's just more so, like, once something is done, it's done, you know what I'm saying? So, no regrets, but yeah, just paying attention to not having that right or wrong, but and again, we shouldn't be looking for anyone else's approval on what we do or what we feel we should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't be looking for a certain, religious approval or a certain approval from somebody who you think spiritual, so I gotta get approval from them. Like, no, you don't have to get, like, hey, universal, you think that if I do this and do that, like, no, you don't need my approval. It's your realm, it's your unique universe. You know what I'm saying? Do what you feel is best for your unique realm and reality. Your walk, your inner universe. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how to be you. I'm too busy being the greatest universal and knowing how to be the greatest universal. I can't tell you how to be the greatest Sally and Sue, or the greatest Tom, or the greatest Keisha, or the greatest Juan, or the greatest, I can only, speak on my own experiences. And again, as I speak on my own experiences, maybe you could get little insights as I speak on what I'm going through in my experience, you know what I'm saying? But, it's not for, again, certain things that apply to our experience that is the same. Like, say, for instance, meditate. Like, all of us, for some way, form, or fashion, gonna meditate. But within that meditation, it's in our own little way. It's a amount of quote unquote time that we feel best for our little uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? So again, we shouldn't be looking for anyone else's approval. You know what I'm saying? And again, and that's back to the last agreement too, doing the best you can and keeping it moving, not looking for somebody else to tell you, hey, was this right or was this wrong? Like, go with your flow. And then the aspect, again, of kind of like both, like, don't take anything personal and not making any assumptions, but, for sure not taking anything personal. And, like, on the reverse side, like, calling someone else a name is really a judgment towards yourself. Because basically, if I call a person fat, I'm basically saying, if I look like that, then I would judge myself as fat. Oh, look at those shoes. That's basically saying, if I wore those shoes, I would judge myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm judging this person, because I would judge myself if I was doing the same thing that person is doing. That's the psychology about it. People could try to run away from it all you want. If you're insulting others, it's some type of judgment or something within yourself, a judgment that you would, that you hold against yourself in some way, form, or fashion. So again, basically, you're calling someone else a name is really like a judgment towards yourself, because if you were looking the same or talking the same or acting the same or smelling the same, etc., as that person you are judging, you would internally judge yourself in that same manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that person rich and think they this and that. So if you were doing that same thing, you would judge yourself as rich. And again, that inner judge, like, what's right and what's wrong. I feel like being rich is wrong, so I judge rich people, and therefore, stopping myself from being abundant because I see being rich as bad. So I'm not gonna manifest the abundance that I deserve because I've put this label, you know what I'm saying? Somebody else word magic. Again, back to others word magic. You hear people say money bad, this and that. And you listen to other people word magic and got you in a realm of lack of abundance. Because again, it's not about the paper dollar, of the situation. The paper dollar ain't shit. It's the energy behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's energy. It's a current flow. It's a currency. That's why it's called a currency, because it's a flow of energy. You know what I'm saying? That's neither right or wrong, good or bad. And if you want to save the rainforest or create a certain school of magic, or start a Reiki healing place, then you might want to be in alignment with that abundance and not see abundance as something bad, or just because your abundance coming in the form of a paper dollar, like, and you label that paper dollar as bad, you're blocking the abundance. Calling names, that's a whole, and again, there isn't one aspect of yourself that's better than the other. one might make you mad or happy, but still neither is wrong or right. You know what I'm saying? Like a situation might make you mad, but that necessarily doesn't mean that it's better than the, like my father transitioning, you know what I'm saying? It made me sad, but that's not to say it was right or wrong, good or bad, over any other situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a part of the experience. So day or night, it's like, oh, night better than day. Oh, no, man, day is right and night is wrong. Being asleep is wrong and being awake is right. Hot water is right. Hot water is the right way to go, but cold water is the bad thing. Like, it's like, nah, it's just different polarities, different, the two sides of one coin, you know what I'm saying? Like different poles, hot and cold is both temperatures in essence, it's just on different sides of the spectrum, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole, body suit or soul, my bodysuit temporary, but that don't mean it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? This realm is temporary, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And just because I don't want to be in this realm of reality no more, don't make it wrong either. I'm done with this experience. Time to move on. Neither wrong or right. It's time to move on. and two, that's the different levels to what's going on right now too. Speaking of that, you know, like again resonating with what's best for you, because here it is, this is like a school. Some beings in this realm still learning new things, like, and that's why you realize, like, and that's the test. You chose to come down, and you're that strong soul spark of source, you know and you came into this realm with these challenges of, you knew you was going to be presented with things that could throw you off and deter you, but it was that challenge presented so you could realize who you are, stay in alignment with who you are, so you made sure that your parents were people that was connected with the Roman Catholic Church, so you could go to church, put yourself in that situation just to realize that, oh shit, nah, like this ain't resonating, and it help you remember like who you are, on that level. But like a 12th grader about to graduate, it's gonna have the 12th grader is gonna have a different approach to learning than the kindergarten student is gonna have. You know what I'm saying? Like some people not new to the aspect of being God, or being source, or some beings are new to the aspect of transitioning out of this realm, and that's when you gotta know who you are and know that, all right, I know within my realm in reality, I done been here too many times, and it's about getting my inner universe, because some souls feel like instead of like firstly taking care of themselves, like, I gotta be spiritually picking up trash or feeding the homeless or whatever. And that ain't nothing right or wrong about that. It's the understanding though that, again though, if you are doing those things, let it be in alignment with your inner soul and not something that you feeling like you have to do to to go to heaven. I gotta give out hamburgers, or do this or that, you know what I'm saying, in order to go to, and again, that may be a kindergarten approach, because they new to this school, so they still learning their ways, you know what I'm saying, and again, neither good or bad, right or wrong, whether being is in kindergarten or 12th grade. It's just the understanding of keeping it truthful and being accountable. Like, well, if I know I'm in 12th grade, there's certain aspects that I can learn from a kindergarten student. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, again, and if I'm a 12th grader and I'm taking my exit exam, a kindergarten, just getting in school, I'm not going to allow a kindergarten student to tutor me on how to exit out of the 12th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, point blank period. And some, within these new age movements, some beings that may be considered teachers are saying certain things, but they may be speaking from the kindergarten aspect, you know what I'm saying? They may be speaking from an aspect of what's their reality and what they're having to do within their realm, you know what I'm saying? That may deal with coming back to this realm, you know what I'm saying? And some of us, 12th graders, you know what I'm saying, that's like, like we done did this. Because another thing too is not repeating that aspect. Shout out to Brother Panic, bringing that up, like, trying to go back to Africa or build a pyramid again. I think, brother, we already did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just like in life, as above, so below, as within, so without. If I already did something, I already drunk for it, I already got on it and did all that, that's done. I'm moving on to something new. You know what I'm saying? I done already did this earthly plane. I already was the ruler over this plane or whatever. And I didn't even say ruler, but whatever, like, because I'm saying it like that because some people, within that conscious community vibe, especially from the melanated vibe of like, oh yeah, like they're more so into the aesthetics of the information instead of really being who they are. They're like, oh yeah, we was from Kemet, and this and that stands for this, and this and that stands for that, but not really doing the work to leave this realm. You know what I'm saying? More so like, hey, I'm just basically flashing the culture, which is still in the ego in essence, you know what I'm saying? Because here it is, it's like, oh, you just like, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm Nuwabian, I'm voodoo, I'm this, I'm that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's understanding this stuff to get the fuck from out of this realm and not to get stuck in these modalities, you know what I'm saying? Or these constructs of identity or dogmatic, hopping from the skillet to the frying pan, where it's like, oh, because it's not called church no more, and because it's dealing with some indigenous vibes, you feel like, oh yeah, it's something different. But if you're doing it the same way you did religion, then you still doing the same thing. It just got a different name. Hence, from the skillet to the frying pan, both frying you up. It just one got a different name. You know what I'm saying? So I want to move out of that vibe as well. And understand that, again, some people in 12th grade, some people in kindergarten. Nobody's better than the next. It is what it is, as far as learning curves and that whole situation. But again, there isn't one aspect of ourselves that's better than the other. The temporary not better than the infinite not better than the temporary. The all apart. Two sides to the one coin. You know what I'm saying? It's just understanding that, hey, we done dealing with the temporary for some. Some of us realize we don't want to deal with it. We done with this realm. We got the we got the t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? We smoking the cigar. Like shit. What else is for us to do in this realm? You know what I'm saying? While some beings, just creating their history for the first time. Stepping into a place where they could step into godhood and leave this realm, you know what I'm saying? It's all, just different little growths. But, and again, opposites equally important to each other because they can't exist without each other either, you know what I'm saying? Like, roses only smell good because things stink, because stink things exist. If stank things didn't exist, like just like with parasites, if parasites didn't exist, then like say for instance, if everything all one, and we're all just one being and this and that, that's all it is. It's just that one situation, But to have a situation outside of like just everything being one big glob of oneness, because that's another thing we're going through. We're realizing again, like the Lucifer Christ energy, where like, at one time, it was great for us to, like we was in that oneness, in that Lucifer aspect of question, like, where does all this perfection come from? And we've been in this eternal situation, all one big glob of something. I want to experience something different. And that Lucifer aspect was a savior in that time frame, or in that moment, because, we was looking for a new experience. But then, we came into this physical realm, and then things kind of started getting out of hand, started getting too low. It's like, all right, shit, we need to pull ourselves back into remember, that we can interconnected to everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, and cycling out of that. But as we're cycling, cycling also into newer realms and into higher, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're cycling not in the same loop. I mean, of course we have been. That's the whole point of us, going through a situation to change things, hence, you know, if you watch the Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity Wars, the Marvel movie, but Doctor Strange, you know, because that's what we are basically all doing as beings. We're doing what Doctor Strange did in the Infinity Wars, where he, you know, he had that part where he used the little stone to go into all the different dimensions to see if they could find reality where they could change the outcome of Thanos, taking out half the population. You know what I'm saying? So Doctor Strange went into all these different, dimensions to see if it was a possibility, and that's what we're doing. Right now, we're basically like the ancestors, source, God, the ancestors on a human experience within this realm, trying to stop the same loop from happening again. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why, again, we're not here to do things to all, like, of course, some things we borrow from, from our elders, but then some things, we are changing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some things that elders taught me, that's cool, but then, like, some things the elders taught me, like going to church and that God was outside of me instead of inside of me, not necessarily healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, realizing again, like, we're not trying to repeat into the same cycle, or like, oh, let's be great. Like, again, some melanated people may fall into the ego of the spiritual vibes of, like, oh yeah, let's run the earth in this sense again, this and that. And it's like, it's not even about, it's like about you not repeating the same thing again. You know what I'm saying? As far as, like, getting lost in the certain modalities within this realm, you know what I'm saying? It's for you to realize, like, all right, we're breaking out of a cycle instead of staying in the same cycle or creating the same thing that we done already done. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, we're about to, like, no, it's time to switch it up. You know what I'm saying? So again, we are shifting, nothing personal to our temporary aspects. We're making a choice between two different things. Making a choice between two different things doesn't mean one is better. It's just what you choose for that moment. Again, like I was saying, like, we're choosing to not stay in this temporary realm. You know what I'm saying? It's neither right or wrong, good or bad. That's what we choose. That's what that's what the now is. You know what I'm saying? Realizing again that we're infinite because we've been in this temporary realm for so long. It's like that raising and awakening to back to knowing, like, all right, I'm more than what I call this bodysuit. And again, back to the first agreement, accountability for spells. That's another thing, man. For one, some of us do have stronger creation abilities, than others, and dealing with our words. We want to be real aware of how we're using our words. Because I also thought about, like, the accountability and awareness when we're quote unquote. Matter of fact, and I feel like that's probably why that expression is the way it is, like, shoot the shit or chopping it up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you're not aware when you're quote unquote shooting the shit, that's literally what you're doing, is shooting the shit. Like, you fucking throwing spells out all over each other. You know what I'm saying? Like making these certain generalizations, like, all, because when you're in certain conversations, again, that's why you have awareness too, like, only deal with energies and beings that resonate on a certain level, because again, we could be chopping it up and shooting the shit, and people saying things, putting spells on on each other, because here it is, one might be listening to the other and not necessarily I'm thinking of example, because matter of fact, they had an example in the book, like, oh, you look the same, like, your skin color or your tone, like, you looking yellow, or I forgot how to say, like, you looking yellow or sick, like your skin look the same as somebody who died from cancer the other day, And somebody telling you that, if you don't, be like, oh, I don't resonate with that. I know I don't. Look, I know I'm an infinite being. I don't even resonate with cancer or what you talking about. Proof be gone. Because the moment you allow for, that person says that, you just sit with it on some, like, oh, all right. Then you accepting that spell. That spell is being casted in your realm. You know. Like, oh man, you look like the brethren I knew that got shot, man, because of his dreadlocks. If you don't be like, oh man, well look, I don't resonate with that, bro. I know my dreads ain't gonna get me shot, so uh, look, much love to you, to that brethren who transition or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not in that same reality, Like, yeah, your brethren looked a certain way, or because of his dreadlocks he got shot, but that's not my reality. You know what I'm saying? And realizing, again, that's a certain energy, that's a certain parasitic energy, where the person who made that generalization may have not consciously, deliberately did it to throw the spell on you in that sense of it, but that parasitic energy within them, you know, push that up to the forefront to, to try to pull you down. Because once you agree to a certain situation like that, your energy drops, and like the lower you are, the easier it is for parasites to grab you. So that's the whole name of the game, is things within your day are constantly trying to find ways to just bring your vibration down, so it could try to feed off of you. You know what I'm saying? That's why, again, hence we don't, get into the hate, or get into any love vibration, or any energy that brings our vibration low, because again, and it messes with our soul alignment and soul growth, And again, if the person listens to this opinion and agrees with the statement, by not having any rebuttal, you know what I'm saying? Again, and like I tell people, if I don't have the verbal rebuttal, I'm gonna be in my head, like, like saying to myself, like, I don't agree with that, be like, oh man, the cops always trying to do this or do that, man, you better, or like somebody come, because that's another thing too, and I'm gonna be real, this is honesty hour, straight up and down. Anybody that try to warn you towards something, whether they realize it consciously or not, that's a parasite trying to make you fear something. You never have to fear anything. And that's where, this realm of insanity, because it's the social norm, you think like, oh, this person's being nice, like, say for instance, I'll be being at I remember one night, and this being, again, like, this is a parasite that was within that being, but I'm sitting in the park in Venice, you know, and it does have its energies around here, and somebody like, hey, Universal, be careful, man, this and that happening around here. I'm like, look, I'm straight, I don't have to worry about that, and what's funny, because even in the vibe, when I wanted to say I appreciate you, like, let me know, I almost even didn't want to say that, because I realized how much of a fucking parasite energy that was trying to bring me down, you know what I'm saying? So when people like try to warn you of things in that sense, it's more so. That's why if I ever bring anything up, it's like, man, this is not to be fearing or scaring yourself about any of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, having a certain awareness, but not fear-mongering yourself, But for the most part, man, when we bring certain things into our, our awareness, or somebody like, oh man, I just want to, where it seems like they, because some things, again, I feel like there is a way to tell somebody about something without making it a fear-mongering situation, but in most cases, like when we got this vibe of saying something like, be careful, or or like, and it sounds good, like, oh man, be careful, you might not want to put your bags there, man, somebody might take it, and it's like, that's your, in that moment, if I'm telling somebody, hey, watch your bags, man, somebody might take it, that's my reaction. Like, I feel like somebody might take my bags, so that's why I'm telling the next person that. Who's to say? And that goes back to the 4 agreements too, because I'm making an assumption. I'm assuming that person ain't magical, or I'm assuming that person is just like me, on the level with their magic, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, I'm assuming like, oh well, because I'm still kind of scared that somebody might take my stuff. That person should be or probably scared just like me. So let me warn them as I would warn myself. But again, and in that person realm of reality, say for instance, they don't even care. Like they put their book sacks down. They know that their book sack ain't gonna get taken or this or that. But that energy, warning them about that, or trying to, plant that little seed, is that parasitic energy trying to make that person fear a certain situation, you know. And that's why too I been bringing up how the ego is almost like a disease, and people will fall into it without necessarily consciously trying to try. And that's why all these situations, speaking on like zombie movies and people being like zombies, what I'm saying. I made a video talking about like rubbing the zombie flesh on you, to be around the zombies. But yeah, like like that parasitic energy is, creating like a zombie, like behavior in essence. And to follow back up again with the accountability for the words, and I was just about to say, my brother, I'm about to move.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. And oh yeah, and that's the whole thing too. The conversations could become a whole bunch of negative spell casting without conscious awareness. Again, a bunch of generalizations and stuff flying around. And people making agreements with spells, not even realizing. Like you. And that's where things could become pretty hectic if it's like, say for instance, it was like about more than 5 people and all these different, conversations bouncing around and flying around, what I'm saying? You get caught up in the word magic, but just having that awareness, and dealing with the, not making assumptions vibe, ask questions instead of assuming, like shit, even if you like you're assuming that a person might be racist towards you or something like that. Let's just say, what I'm saying, don't make that assumption. Ask that person, like walk up to that person like, do you dislike me? Are you racist? And I'm jokingly saying that because for one, we should be in a realm where, again, you're not even caring to even ask a person, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna make the assumption, and as I'm saying that too, though, let me bring up, that don't make assumptions vibe, because a lot of people could get confused. So say for instance, what if you are psychic and what if you're psychic and you're picking up on an energy and not necessarily assuming? Because this may be the case in sometimes. Sometimes, again, some of us are picking up on energies, but you will feel it. Like, you will feel the energy come up in you more so from within you than coming from your thoughts and your eyesight. Most, like, the assumption vibe will come off of, like a certain thought. And your thought would probably, in most cases, due to seeing how that person presents themselves on a physical level. So you look at them with your two eyes, see how they dress, and you instantly a thought be like, oh well, the person that dresses like this, may be doing this or may be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, where you're coming across a person and you're just feeling the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like and you could feel your higher self letting you know, like, what you're feeling is real, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little asterisk by the assumption vibe, Of course, you don't, not making no assumptions, and at the same time, not knocking your psychic abilities either, you know what I'm saying? Because some of us do have abilities where we picking up and reading on somebody's energy field, and again, that's truthful information. We're not judging or assuming. Like, our higher self is letting us know, like, like, this is the energy that this person is dealing with, you know what I'm saying? So, also being that, but, and with that being said, acknowledge the awareness. So still not making the assumption either. So say for instance, let's say you do get that psychic insight. At the same time, acknowledge that awareness brought to your attention, but don't act upon that insight you know what I'm saying? You know, unless you're getting a strong energy urging you to act upon psychic insight. You know, like you know, you get this psychic insight about somebody, and you know, it's telling you to do a certain thing, but you know, it's like, you know, you want to make sure that insight is very strong to the point where you're not making, you know, no assumption. Like, you're realizing this is not an assumption, but more so psychic insight. You know, but that's basically it. You know, and again, just back to the word magic on both ends of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't waste your valuable time broadcasting or speaking on your personal problems. You know, it cannot help others, and in most cases it's not going to help you, because say for instance, venting is a quick pressure release. You know, venting is like, just get that out, shoot them rocks out. Venting is not an hour long, you know. And I could play devil's advocate and say, to each his own, you know, or, you know, like to be open-minded and say, oh, well, you know, maybe you may take more than 1 hour to vent. But in a lot of cases, venting is, again, like a pressure release, you know what I'm saying? You have a pressure relief valve, you know, you open that for a second and you close that right back up, you know, or you open it and then the pressure comes out to where you could close it, you know what I'm saying? You know, venting is, again, a quick pressure release. It doesn't truly take days or hours to vent, you know what I'm saying? And again, so, you know, we don't, you know, want to waste our time broadcasting or speaking on our personal problems on that level, you know what I'm saying? Like, gotta just deal with them, you know what I'm saying? And on a human aspect, of course, you know, it may feel good to vent and things of this nature, but not staying in that realm. You know, you vent and keep it moving, and also, especially to empaths, you know, we're not here to save the world in that sense of it. So, you know, how you trying to, like, oh, well, let me try to sit down and listen to everything this person has to say, or this and that, like trying to be this. You know, it's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? It's not my job to listen to somebody else's negativity. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're not allowing for me to share ways for me to help, you know what I'm saying, or share ideas that could help them get out of that situation, you know what I'm saying? You know, and some will say, well, doesn't negativity, you know, don't we always speak about positive and negative, and how the positive or how the negative side exists for, you know, the positive side? Yes, negativity does serve a purpose, but it serves a purpose briefly, and not for us to dwell in that energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, a negative situation pops up, for us to grow past it, you know what I'm saying? And not dwell like, oh, let me keep negativity present in my universe because the universe is positive and negative, so let me make sure I keep some negative shit in my realm. Like, nah, you know, because then that's your egoic mind taking spirituality and placing some logical reasoning, or trying to, you know, yeah, basically using some type of logical reasoning to, you know, bring yourself down, you know what I'm saying, and make some shit sound like it's what's best for you to do, because it's using some spiritual words, but it's basically the egoic mind and found a back door to make a spiritual vibe be hindering, you know what I'm saying? Again, or using spiritual information to, you know, be using in logical reasoning to try to make sense out of something that ain't, you know, really beneficial to yourself. So again, negativity serves a purpose, but not for us to dwell in it. There's nothing to gain from deliberately being negative. You know, point blank, periods. Nothing to gain. But that's basically it. You know, again, the 4 agreements: be impeccable with the words. You know, be aware of your word magic. Don't take anything personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even down to always feeling like, oh, those people might be sending in negative energy to me, or, you know, this might be, like, you know, like always feeling like somebody doing something towards you, like that's taking it personally, and that's ego, because you feel like, oh, they gotta be doing this towards me, in essence. Like, well, just stay in your realm, stay in your lane, you know what I'm saying? So, keeping the words impeccable, uh, not taking anything personal, not making any assumptions, and doing your best. And matter of fact, and at that last part, which I spoke on in